What is up, Nickel City Mafia? Jake, just like we said, a real easy game, right? We're going to blow these guys out. Not even going to be close. And, oh, my God, can we take a deep breath? I mean, everybody, deep breath, and holy crap. You want to talk about my heart going a little crazy. I think it's still beating a mile a minute. And my goodness, we had people in the chat early on. This was crazy. The Bills survive, and man, we had people already. Let me go to the chat real quick. We didn't even have the intro, folks. That's how quickly we want to get this going here. Jessica Tennis coming out. That was horrible. Topper saying we did not deserve to win that game. Mad Chatter, the worst game ever. I've seen worse. Mad Chatter.
I've seen worse too. You remember 6-3 against the Browns?
Yeah.
That was worse.
About 9-6 a couple years ago against the Jaguars. But I'm just staying current, Matt Cheddar. I can go back many years and give you some other things. Oh, yeah. Many things. Oh, man. Allen playing like a bum again. I don't know. He did make that biggest play of the game, throwing the Morris. That was incredible.
We don't win that game without Josh Allen.
Yeah, we don't win that.
No other quarterbacks winning that game for us.
Oh, but, man, we've got issues. We got issues, Jake. What is going on? It felt like we had jet lag last week. It felt like even worse this week. I mean, we get shut out in the first half, shut out through 3 quarters. And I think what they say, what Josh Allen's rookie year was the last time we've ever been shut out through 3 quarters.
And it was week 17.
Oh, my God. Unbelievable, dude. So talk to me about what you saw. What is happening with this? And let me just say this. Defense did it again. Held in there. Held. I mean, obviously, Taron Johnson defends that play, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Run or pass. We know they made that mistake at halftime where Tyrod calls that audible, and Dable was hot, man. Dable was hot. But now they had a chance, like they ran it before half. They could have run it there with Barkley, which I was thinking they were going to, but TJ comes down with a big play. But Jake, what are you seeing, man? What happened?
I've never seen a team that looks so brilliant and so bad at the same time, if that even makes sense. Like, this team is so good at shooting themselves in the foot, and they're also so good at almost giving the entire Bills fan base, city, etc., a heart attack. It's wild, man. I don't know what's going on. They have to figure it out. These last 8 quarters of football have looked bad. Not good. Not Super Bowl-esque by any means. I think the defense has done well playing the bend, don't break. The corners definitely have not looked great, but they've made plays when it's counted. So that's huge, and that's kind of the motto of the bend, don't break defense. I think Christian Benford today, he got tested a little bit. Kaiir Elam did not look good again. TJ, that was definitely PI on that last play. He was at least holding. That's for damn sure. So there's just a lot of things there. I think the defense obviously keeping us in the game. There's no reason the Bills should only be dropping 14 points. Now, credit to the New York Giants. They came to play. Tyrod played his nuts off. That entire team really played hard. Wink Martindale did a tremendous job calling that defense. They did a lot of things today that I think disrupted and got into our heads a little bit. But man, there's got to be other receivers that can come and step up and make some plays too. It's just, I think part of it is play calling too, because at times Ken Dorsey looks like a brilliant play caller, and other times it's like the most predictable thing in the world. Running the ball out of shotgun on a 3rd and goal situation or 2nd and goal situation makes 0 sense to me. I'll never understand it. I mean, that should be an automatic QB sneak, tush push, touchdown every single time. I just, for the life of me, can't figure it out. And again, we seem to overcomplicate things. I don't understand it.
We really do. We got Trek Revere coming in and said, I'm not sure if it's the offense or the referees. I don't know. I know you and Big Al are saying that was a penalty on TJ. I thought he played it well. Obviously, the play before that on Benford, that was an obvious one. I'm not sure on the TJ one. Yes, if the refs were being, if they wanted to swing that game, for sure they could have called it. But I thought he played the ball well. Did you think it was a hold off the line, or because he didn't turn his head, but he played the ball. First of all, Waller towers over him by like 2 feet. I was saying
he definitely played it as best as he could have.
Yeah, I mean, he was looking for the ball up top, and then he pushed it up there. But again, there was definitely some contact. I could see some Giant fans being upset about that. But I'm not sure it's the offense or the referees. I don't know. I didn't see anything the referees were doing too bad. Jake, what are you thinking about this?
You know what? I think there were some ticky-tack calls, but it was even on both sides. I don't think there was anything too crazy that swung the game one way or the other. My dad actually just left me a voicemail. I just saw it, Dad. He was saying that it was a hold on Taryn. Yeah, he had a chance to rewatch that, and it looked like he was actually holding before the ball was even in the air. So right off the line of scrimmage, that is tough. That's a tough no call to make, but I think that the refs were probably terrified to make that call too. That's a tough situation to throw another flag. You're already giving the ball at the 1 yard line. Then you give another redo. But that is the game of football, too. You got to make the calls when it matters and when it doesn't matter, too.
Yeah, that would have been pretty ballsy for them to do that. But hey, if it is the call to make, throw the flag, man. That's what we always say. And I'm sure Giant fans are saying that right now. Jessica Tennis saying it was so simple. The Bills just needed to run the ball again and again and again. Then turn to Josh when they got stuck. And I will say this, I was pleasantly surprised to see them coming out of the gate running Murray, right? Murray got the start. Yeah. It's almost like they listened to all the podcasters out there who were like, let's get the big guys running. Let's get it warmed up, then put Cook in. And, man, those drives in the second half, I got to say from both teams, kind of gave me memories of that 91 Super Bowl where the Giants just went on these massive drives to just kill clock, kept the ball away from Kelly and the guys. But, man, credit to our team for just smash mouth football and that big drive there to take the lead for the first time in the game, which was pretty impressive. But, man, I got to tell you, man, so after the fourth down stop where we stopped them and we had the ball, around their 45-yard line, and yet they had 3 timeouts. And even my son, first thing he says, Dad, it's not over. I'm like, you're right. They can get 3 stops quickly. And that throw, this is the only thing. I don't know. I put this on Knox because I always say if it hits your hands, and we've seen Knox struggle with those type of throws. If it hits your hands, now, don't get me wrong. Josh could have thrown that ball a little bit better. I mean, that was just wide open for the taking.
Sure.
But who do you put that on?
I put that on Dawson Knox. Yeah. I mean, he had 2 hands on it. It wasn't like it actually even skipped and hit the ground or anything. He had a clean shot at catching that football, and that's a routine catch for Dawson. He does typically make those sliding low catches like that. He's very good at that typically. So, yeah, it definitely could have been a better throw by Josh, but you got to make that catch plain and simple. Like, I definitely put that more on Dawson than Josh. It should have definitely been better. He could have made it a lot easier than it needed to be, but Dawson needs to come up with that catch. We're paying him a lot of money to make catches like that.
I mean, I agree. My kid, he plays flag football, and he says, Dad, he didn't throw the ball perfectly to me. And I said, dude, it hit your hands. If it hit your hands, as a kid, I've always been told it's on you. You got to make that catch. So, I put that on Knox. It felt like, dude, all they were focused on, I mean, let me just show you real quick. Diggs had 10 catches for 100. I love that they were going to Diggs, but in the first half, we only had 2 receivers catch a ball, Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis. The rest of the game, we were able to get 4 other receivers involved, but not much. Dawson Knox, 3 for 17. Morris, 1 for 15. Talk about that play, because that was a beautiful play, and that was the game winner. Josh Allen, just incredible. And give Quentin Morris a lot of credit by slipping it. It felt a little Kelsey-like. He's like, all right, or even Diggs, all right, I got to make a play here. And it was perfect. So talk to me about that play. But let me just finish here. Knox, 3 for 17. We got Morris, the 1 catch for touchdown, which was the game winner. Khalil Shakir and Deontay Hardy, 1 for 3. And Khalil had a nice catch too. That 1 for 13 was a big first down play. And Hardy as well. The 1 catch was a touchdown. So that was huge. So, talk to me about that play. Josh Allen doing Josh Allen things, finding Quentin Morris.
Yeah. Well, by the way, for the Khalil Shakir catch, just real quick, want to highlight that for a second. Yes. Great pick play by Dawson Knox on that. So I can give him credit for that. I think he did okay. He did some good things today, too. It wasn't all bad, but that last catch, you got to have it. Going to the Quentin Morris game-winning touchdown, I mean, there was such a small window to fit that throw in. And you know what's fun about the Bills offense and Josh Allen? Sometimes it's just playing street ball out there and just making things happen. And he did that tonight. He did that on a few occasions, and it wasn't perfect. It didn't look pretty, but he got it done. And what a freaking throw. No other quarterback's making that throw. Maybe Pat Mahomes, but no other quarterback in this league is making that throw. I'm sorry. Like, throwing across your body like that, too, fitting it in that small of a window on a freaking rope. Are you kidding me right now? That is arm strength. That is arm talent. That is throwing in a tight window, and it's everything you want to see from the guy. And, I think he's not really gotten away from it so much. I think he's definitely tried to play more careful football. And you could tell there were times where he wanted to take a shot tonight, but he didn't. He was smart with the football. That one play, it was over in the middle to Dawson Knox. Bobby Okereke, by the way. Holy smokes.
Oh, wow. What a game.
Him.
Yeah.
Both turnovers resulting basically from him. But, gosh, man, he played great. That was just a hell of a play by him to tip it. And, of course, Micah McFadden comes down with the interception. But, yeah, the reason why we won this game was because of Josh Allen. And also, you could say a reason why we almost lost this game was partially on Josh Allen. But I'm not going to put that all on him. I think the team as a whole needs to play better. And sometimes, again, going back to like Ken Dorsey and play calling, things are working. The smash mouth game is working. We're running the football effectively. And then we try to be too cute. And then it gets us backed up, and then they figure us out, and then it's a bad turnover on downs. And it's really frustrating watching from my couch, of course, as any fan gets frustrated with that stuff. Just because what this offense can do and what they can produce, and it's not that same offensive scheme or look that they put out there against Miami 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Trekavir, okay, I understand now what you're saying there. And like you said, I'll go back to Jessica's comment here. First of all, let me just say prayers to Damian Harris. I mean, we hope he's okay. It was a good sign. First of all, he gave the thumbs up before he was taken into the van. And then they said that he was on the way to the hospital, but he had feeling in both his arms and his legs, I believe is what they said. So that's amazing, but definitely prayers. Never like to see that. And we hope he's back on the field soon. But that was some good news that we got hearing that. So let me just say this. So James Cook, he averaged 5.1 yards a carry, Jake, 5.1 yards. Latavius Murray, 3.8 yards per carry. And Josh Allen, 5.5. And again, Josh only ran the ball twice. But I totally agree with you, Jessica. They had to run the ball more. And I thought they did to start the game, got away from it. And then, of course, they go back to it in the second half. And it was there for the taking all day. I mean, they were wearing down the Giants. But they'd seem to get away from it, or they'd pull that shotgun handoff to Cook, which gets stuffed all the time. Please just stop. Take it out of the book. Take it out of the book, man. Yeah, I agree with you. It
works at times. I think there are circumstances where it can work. And you obviously want to keep the defense honest. But in those situations, you could not be more obvious. You line up in shotgun. It's an obvious running down already as it is. And you just hand them another down. It just makes no sense to me. Get under center with Josh Allen. I know he's a little banged up and whatnot, but shoot, give him a little tush push. Do what you got to do. That's a touchdown all day. It's a touchdown or a first down no matter what, every time.
So let me see here. Let's catch up on the chat here. They can't be all perfect passes. Totally agree.
Yeah.
Keith, totally agree.
Thanks for joining us tonight, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
You are a voice of reason sometimes for our fan base. Let me tell you, brother. Even to me, because I struggled too. I was all over the place. I actually had to not be in our group chat tonight. I was just like, man, I can't deal with it. I agreed with some of the stuff, but also I'm just like, man, I just can't.
Yeah, this was, to me, it was like season saving for now. And we lose that game, we're 3-3, and guess what? We're in third place in the AFC East. We'd be in third place, Jake. I mean, it was just, it was incredible. We needed to pull that out, and they got to get their act together, and they got to get it together quickly. I'm so still stressing over that game. Like, who are we playing next week? Who's the team? I forget who we play next week.
New England.
Okay, and we play them in
I don't
Buffalo.
even look at the team and how they played anymore. I can't even.
Exactly.
You got to throw it all
I'm not even going to. I think we'll take the prediction segment out of it, unless we just say it's going to be a one-score game, because it just feels like they're too close to call in many cases. But I will say this, Friday the 13th weekend, we have no undefeated teams. No undefeated teams any longer. I mean, the Jets, credit to the Jets defense. What a game against the Eagles. And then you got Cleveland Cleveland beating the 49ers. Didn't see that coming. And with that's not even their second string quarterback, I think, that they got
That's
beat
PJ
with.
Walker. Yeah, he was actually their third quarterback, and he was on the practice squad. They pulled him up. So,
oh my goodness.
And he has starting experience, but yeah.
Yeah. And I've seen him like in preseason and look really good too. I think Big L saying, I think Josh needs to get off that bench and start motivating. He's the captain, right? Maybe Josh and a few others need to pay attention to the game instead of the commercials. And yeah, Josh is that type of guy, right? You just see him on the field. You see him on the sideline. He's just sitting there and just kind of like, you could see he was definitely disturbed by that missed opportunity to Knox. I'm sure he's taking that a little rough on his own because he's like, yeah, I could have thrown it better. But as we said, Knox has got to make that play for him. But he's just not that type of guy. And I don't know if you can, if that's not your personality, you just can't change that, right? You can't flip a switch. But what's your thoughts there on what Big L's saying?
Yeah, I agree. I think I have seen it before, though, out of him, where he goes up to the O-line or the receivers or whatever, and he's like, not being fiery or anything like that, but he just seems a little more into it. I don't know what it is this year. He's definitely more nonchalant, definitely more at ease. And, with Josh, he rides the highs with the highs and the lows with the lows, too. He is very emotional. So maybe it's a thing that he has to do, like, mentally now, just to, like, keep himself at ease. But yeah, you definitely would like to see more of that when you see Steph Diggs out there, pointing at his eyes and his head and saying like, be smart and all that stuff. He's out there being a leader. Freaking love the juice that Steph brings every week. It's been incredible.
Yeah, definitely. And again, he had another amazing day, 10 for 100. Unbelievable. Yeah. Wump Donkey. Yes. Thank goodness for our D. They kept us in it to win it. Yeah. I mean, they continue to do this. Like they kept us in that game all they could last week, and this week it was like, man, they did everything again. I mean, when you hold the team to 9 points, and even if they had given up a touchdown, they would have held that team to what if they got the 2 point to 17? If you're holding NFL football teams to under 20 points in a game, and you're supposed to have the offense that we think the Bills do, those should be easy wins. But they're coming tough, Jake. They're not coming easy to us, for sure. So I agree with you there, Wump Donkey, for sure. The 72 Dolphins live on.
Yeah, Mercury Morris and the boys are cracking their champagne bottles as always every freaking year, man. How about it?
Let's be real. I mean, the Eagles have been flirting with losing all year. They haven't really had a tough schedule. They haven't really they've beaten people, but there was many games where you were like, they could have lost that game, and they didn't look like the Eagles of last year. The team that did look unbeatable until today was those 49ers. They have everything that you need, a running game. They have that West Coast offense, and that defense is stellar. But it's any given Sunday, man, week-to-week football. And now you got Cleveland, bringing them back down to earth. So this league is anybody's league. It's anybody's league.
It really is. It's been crazy. Just when you think maybe there's a bigger gap between a few of these teams in the league compared to the other teams in the division, it's just not the case at all. Plain and simple.
All right, let me ask you from Trek Review. He says, if Harris is out for a long time, do we activate T.Y. Johnson or go get D. Henry or Saquon Barkley?
I don't see a scenario where we get Derrick Henry or Saquon. I obviously it's great to imagine, but I like our backs. I love James Cook and Latavius. I thought they did a lot of great things tonight, but I definitely see us activating Ty Johnson for sure.
Yep. And then John Roberts, thanks for joining us over there on Facebook. What an ugly win. Yeah, it's somebody was saying the ugliest win ever. It's not the ugliest win ever, but it's friggin' ugly. And my God, when you have to let me ask you on that play. 4th down. I'm thinking they're handling that off to Barkley all day.
Absolutely.
What was your thought on the play call there?
I'm shocked they didn't. It was a terrible play call. Not a terrible play call because you want to throw it to your tallest receiver, to a guy that's a red zone threat. So it's probably the second best play call you could have. Maybe third best because you have his handoff to Saquon Barkley. You could run there. You could run a little tush push QB sneak, or you could throw it to Darren Waller. So I think they did the third best option on that play there.
Yeah, man. Darren Waller, man, he's such a target. He's so tall. Yeah. I mean, he towered. I mean, first of all, our linebackers aren't the tallest. That's one thing, Edmonds had was height. But, man, when you look at him and they're trying to cover him, they look so small compared to him. But, yeah, I'd be throwing to him too. So it was good. I mean, it's not the worst play. Like you said, I agree. maybe I run Barkley or do something else and then Waller the third play. But I guess now that you said that, I can't blame him because even early on, I'm like, dude, I'd be throwing a Waller every opportunity I get.
Yeah, and no offense to Dorian Williams, but he could not keep up with him today at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Ooh, man, I'm still like gathering my breath here. Still.
I know. My heart's like beating a million miles per hour. Listen, shout out I mentioned our group chat. Sean, love you, brother. But I had as I said, I had to not even look at our group chat, man. I know you're upset. You're probably still living. Not sure if you're watching out there, but hey, we got the win, man. On to next week. We gotta correct a lot of things. We really do.
Yeah, and then we got Von is in himself. I agree, Big Al. I mean, he's definitely looking slower. And again, we kind of expect he's an older guy. We expect, he's going to get back to what he was. And they're taking it slow with him, but it was good to see him in the game when we needed him. And, credit to the Giants offensive line, man. They did a pretty good job that second half. And I felt like they were giving Tyrod some time to make plays, more time than I was wishing they'd give him. But credit to them and look, they are beat up. We beat a team that was decimated. So Dable definitely had that team motivated. Obviously, Tyrod Taylor was motivated. I mean, he's going against a team that he's played for. People love him in Buffalo, actually. And a lot of people, especially the players, still love Dable. So he had him fired up, man. He had him fired up, and he gave them the opportunity to win. And if it wasn't for a bad audible right before halftime, and I'm sure he called the play, and I'll tell you what, Tyrod Taylor wasn't going to change the play on that last play of the game. Whatever was called, he was going with it. There was no audible. He's not going to get beat up again.
Not again. Yeah.
But are you seeing the same thing with Von? He's just not himself right now, and I guess that's to be expected. I mean, he was on a snap count last week. I'm sure. I think he was on a snap count again, but they kind of preserved him to the end of the game. But what's your thoughts on what Big L's saying there?
Yeah, I think you saw some things. He was sprinting past guys. I mean, he was getting past those tackles pretty easily. But was he making an impact by like registering a sack? No, definitely not. He didn't make any splash plays or anything like that. But he did some things. He got some hurries and whatnot that resulted in Tyrod rolling to the left on a few plays and having to make some throwaways. So he was definitely in on those. But yeah, you want to see some impact plays. You want to see the Von Miller from last year where he's ending games with a sack. So we have yet to see that still.
Yeah, the Giants have the worst run defense, and the Bills should have run more in the first half.
Yeah, agreed.
There's been a few comments about that in the first half, for sure. And then we got Keith, absolutely, Mike. The Eagles are mortal. They've been mortal all season. Yep, exactly what I was saying. And good point, Jessica. It takes 2 years to come back fully from an ACL. I think there are, I don't know. People are just so optimistic, and they're like, "Oh, it's Von Miller. He's so good at repairing his body." But he's older, man. It takes longer. And the fact that he's only a second game back and he hasn't been playing a lot of snaps. So great point, Jessica. I totally agree there. Let's see here. Poyer is always chasing a guy, very slow. Is that what you're seeing too? I
definitely have seen that. Big L's
coming with the heat. Now, I know
those guys have bricks right now.
Yeah, really?
They're moving like bricks with their feet. I don't know what it is, but they do not look the same. They definitely don't look the same. They definitely look slower. There was a good play where he came up and made a nice tackle, but yeah, they look a little slower this year. There's something going on. Their age is getting to them a little bit. I think injuries too. I mean, there's a little bit of both.
Yeah. Alan Poyer look awfully slow out there.
Yeah. By the way, we got Brett in the green room waiting for us here, Mike.
What's Brett doing in the green room? Brett, you sneaking in?
What's up, brother?
What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
Good, man. Yourself?
Dude, cannot complain. You guys sound like you're doing pretty good, but I wanted to jump in real quick and just give my thoughts, if that's okay.
Yeah, we'll give you a few, buddy.
Yeah.
We want to get out of here quickly tonight, so go ahead.
No worries, man. I mean, I got to say this. This was an awful game by the offense in the first half. I like the way that they did do a better job in the second half of stepping up, but this is a game that the Bills should have blown the walls off of the Giants. And I got to give hats off to Wink Martindale and his team. They did a phenomenal job of being able to scheme up everything and get the defense under control. And they threw out everything that you could possibly see for the Giants on defense. And they did a great job of throwing all those things at Josh Allen. And it just seemed like Josh was not going through his progressions in the first half. And he didn't take the check down throws that he should have taken in the first half. And then in the second half, he did a better job of getting the ball to different playmakers. And Mike, you said it backstage very well. You said that the Bills should have been throwing the ball to more than just Diggs and Davis. And it really came down to that in the second half. You saw playmakers get the ball in Hardy and Shakir, as well as Dawson Knox get the ball. But again, Dawson Knox comes up with a difficult catch that he couldn't make, and he drops a pass. And that's what usually happens almost every single week. So that's something that we got to take into effect. And we got to wonder, would Dalton Kincaid have made that catch for the Bills?
I think he does. And Brett, that's kind of like a routine catch for Dawson, though. He doesn't typically drop those ones where they're like low to the ground like that, where he's making like a sliding catch almost like a baseball player. He's usually pretty good with those ones. So It did take me by surprise. Unfortunately, it just the last few weeks it's been brutal. The drops have been bad for him, and they've been in pretty big moments. So you hate to see it for sure.
So Brett, by the way, look how good Brett looks. I mean, he got rid of that virtual crap. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much. It looks so good. Much better.
Yep.
But Brett, who's at fault here? What's going on? What's your thoughts?
I mean, I got to give it to both the offensive coordinator and Ken Dorsey as well as Josh Allen. I mean, it comes down to him. He's the leader on offense, and he's got to say to himself, listen, I'm not going to take the risky throws by trying to force feed the ball to Stephon Diggs. And I'm going to take what the defense is giving me. And he's not doing a good job of that. He's not taking what the defense is giving him out there on the field. He should be throwing the ball to not only Stephon Diggs when it's open, but also to the playmakers that are out there on the field as well. When you have guys that are open about 5-10 yards and take the check downs, take what the defense gives you, live to fight another day, and do that.
Yeah, I did say that early on in the show that, I mean, at halftime, we'd only thrown to 2 players. And while I love getting Diggs had 16 targets today, and he only caught 10 of those. So I would have loved to him distribute the ball a little bit more. I mean, that's what Patrick Mahomes does so well. I mean, there's never a game where you're going to see less than 7 players have a catch in that game. And while we got there, we ended up getting 6 involved. Many of them had like just 1 catch. So I agree, distribute the ball more. Like I was saying at halftime, I'm like, man, we can't sustain just throwing it to Diggs and Davis. And I don't know if others were open, but you know, and then I think you were asking, is it bad play calling? Can't answer that question until we see the film, because it's either bad play calling or Josh just isn't looking at other options, right? That could be as well.
Another thing is we got away from running the ball, which was something that was working for us. And James Cook looked pretty darn good today. We just didn't run the ball in the first half. And then in the second half, we started running the ball a little bit more. And look what happened. You know, you took time off the clock. Your defense wasn't out there on the field. We went down the field on a 16-play drive and ended up scoring a touchdown.
17 play drive.
Right. You're right.
Right around 10 minutes.
In 9 minutes? Yeah.
Almost 10.
That was impressive.
We got Dexter coming in. Yeah, we got Dexter coming in. Giants got cheated. Obviously, Dexter, you're a Giant fan, so I can understand your pain. We talked about that earlier on the show. Some of the Bills folks here are saying that was a penalty. But let's just say this. Doesn't mean you score, right? You get another opportunity. You already had 2 opportunities at the goal line, and you hadn't made anything happen yet. So, yes, you might have gotten another chance, but you never know what would have happened. I like our odds based on what had happened the 2 prior times. But
I think Dexter, I will say this.
I understand.
Your Giants played a hell of a game. Tyrod Taylor needs to be the starting quarterback moving forward. And I think you guys can do some damage. I think he can, for the most part, play mistake-free football. We have dealt with Tyrod for a few seasons, and he's good enough to get the job done. He can get you out of some binds, and he's mobile. And, I think you guys you beat yourselves in a lot of different moments too tonight. I mean, you go back that end of the first half, man, like we got lucky. We got lucky at a lot of things tonight. Obviously a win's a win, but I'll say this was not the best version of the Buffalo Bills. This is a wake-up call because there's no reason, no offense to the Giants, but coming in as 15-point favorites, the Bills should have definitely handled them a lot better than what they did today. I mean, they barely got this win tonight. And yeah, you could definitely say it should have been a DPI or a defensive holding call on Taron Johnson on that last play. But I will say this, out of the 3 plays they potentially could have ran, this is the 3 plays they probably could have ran. Quarterback sneak, tush push, or a handoff to Saquon Barkley. They chose the third best option. I get throwing a Darren Waller there. He's a big target. Maybe you're looking to try to even draw a penalty if it is incomplete, which that's what they were thinking. But you already had an untimed down. So you did get that. I understand how you're feeling. I definitely can empathize with that. I think we felt that way in a lot of circumstances, not in this game, but in other games, So I get where you're coming from, man.
Yeah, he's an Eagles fan, but I get it. I mean, if that was us, if the roles were reversed, we'd be on here screaming about that play. We know we would.
Fan.
Yeah, he's an Eagles fan, but he sees the team, he feels they got cheated. I love that he's calling it out.
I love that he's defending his rival too. I mean, listen, that's unbiased as it gets right there.
Yeah,
respect.
I mean, there are plays all through the game that you could say, oh, they should have called that on the Giants, blah blah blah. But you're right. If roles were reversed, we'd be livid about that right now.
Yeah.
And Jake, I want to say, like, how many wake-up calls do we need to get? Because
I don't know, but
obviously we lose to the Jets, wake-up call. We lose last week in London, huge wake-up call. And now, a third wake-up call already in just, 6 games in the year? It's scary, dude. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, man, but they better get it corrected. And I think the biggest problem is, other than Diggs, either guys aren't getting open or Josh isn't distributing to them. And that's a real problem for us. If we can't get other players involved, especially Kincaid, I know he was out this week, which was unfortunate, but hey, I want him healthy. I don't want to rush anyone back coming back from a concussion. But man, I don't know. I don't know how we get this right. We felt this might be a get right game. Mm-hmm. It wasn't. Wasn't. So I don't know. What's your thoughts on that? How do we get right? What's going on with this team? And what do you see us needing to do to get things fixed in a hurry?
Hopefully, third time's a charm.
Play the Patriots. Is that the way you get cured?
No.
Maybe.
No, the Patriots played hard today. They almost got a win against the Raiders. There is no team moving forward that we can guarantee a win against, and I'm never predicting another blowout win again. It's not happening. It is not happening.
Like I said, we're taking that segment off the channel. Done. Yeah. I don't need to predict. Let's just say we predict a win or a loss. That's going to be it. And we don't need to give a score because it's embarrassing. We're so off on our scores. It's ridiculous. Yeah. So
I can't stand it. I'll tell you what. I think, one of the things that I mentioned in our pregame show was to work the middle of the field a little bit. And I think we tried that on some circumstances, especially in the second half. When we started off the game with our new game plan, our revitalized run game in the second half there, hit Dawson Knox right in the middle of the field there, hit Steph Diggs on that third down. That was a fantastic throw and catch, too. That was a freaking rifle to Steph. Way to hold on to that ball. And that does work. You can hit those spot routes from time to time. But I think you have to also still encompass the run game. You got to include all of that into one and kind of mix it up a little bit, keep the defense honest. So that would be my biggest thing moving forward is just don't abandon it too soon and stop trying to be so cute. Just whatever works, plain and simple. And keep doing it. If it's working, just keep doing it until they can stop you. You know what I mean? I mean, that worked today.
Yeah, I threw a question out to Keith in the channel. Hopefully he sees that. But I think they mentioned it in the broadcast as well, the Dolphins game against the Giants. I think they said that they were going to the outside early on. They were going outside, which is what Buffalo usually does. And I was asking them, what adjustments did they make, if any, that you didn't see the Bills make in that game, Keith? Love to hear your perspective on that. But Brad, I asked Jake the question, but how do we get right in a hurry? Otherwise, push the panic button. And if there was a panic button here, I probably should have a panic sound on the on the soundboard here.
We will soon.
I'd probably have it at low volume right now, but I might be pushing it today.
I mean, I'm going to push it up a little bit. I think it comes down to right around the medium mark for me. I mean, if you're looking at different sauce flavors, I'm at the medium level right now.
There you go.
Just about ready to I'm above mild, I'll tell you that, because this is a game where, you know, you're going to look at the all 22 and see in the first half how Josh Allen did not go through his progressions very well. And that's what it came down to, was look at the progression, see what's out there, and see what the defense gives you. And I don't know what it is, if it's the offensive coordinator and Ken Dorsey telling him not to utilize his legs, but look what happens when he utilizes his legs in the second half of the game and he gets to utilize those legs. He plays so much better out there on the field. And I want to see him utilize those legs and the quarterback draw, some type of play where he gets hit a little bit. I mean, I'm not saying where Josh Allen gets hurt, just a little bump or something like that. You know, that wakes you up a little bit. I know, Jake, you've played football before. Mike, you've played, you know, even if you're in your backyard, you get that little hit and you're like, okay, now it's on, guys, let's go. And that's what makes me happy about playing football. I love it. I love it when I get hit a little. But that's what I want to see from the Buffalo Bills, is go out there and play smash mouth football. I mean, we're in, you know, this is October right now, and the weather's starting to change in Buffalo. It was in the 40s today. Run the ball. You know, show what Buffalo is made out of, because later in the year, we're going to have to run the ball in the snow. We're going to have to run the ball in crappy weather that's going to come out later on in the year, where it's going to be raining or it's going to be snowing, whatever the case may be. But we got to utilize the run game and let it set up the pass as well. We just didn't do that today.
Brett, let me say this, by the way. When you refer to me and my football skills, I played Pee Wee football at the Babcock Boys Club there on Seneca Street. I played from 10 to 12, and I was a damn good linebacker. So, yes, I put the pads on sometimes. Let me just say that. And when you're as fast as I was back then, whoo, baby, watch out. People were getting hit.
Love it.
Yeah, I played
you were like there we go. Mike was like Bobby Okereke out there on the field. Yeah.
Anyhow, some good stuff there. Yeah. So Keith, thanks for explaining what the Dolphins did. Basically, they utilized the run game, a chain, kept them off balance, and and Mostert, man, what a beast he's been the whole year. But yeah, thanks for sharing that. They went to the outside, but the Dolphins also ran the ball exceptionally well. And like folks have said earlier, Jessica, also us as well, they should have been running that ball a lot more. Other folks in the channel were saying that as well. So get that run game going. I did love, like I said earlier in the show, I did love that they came out with Murray. And I thought at first, I'm like, all right, I like it. Are they going to just use Murray to bully? But I also felt maybe they had a pass and attack ready to go with the start of the game, and he'd be a better blocker. But I don't know. Anyhow, it was great to see Murray in there, but they just need to keep running that ball, especially against the Giants. You know, Keith said it best, just show up. Keith, we needed more than show up. Last week you said, Brett asked you, what do we got to do to beat the Giants? You said, just show up. That turned out to not necessarily be true. We had to show up and pray that Taron Johnson made a play at that end of the game, or somebody did, to stop them from winning the game. I think it
came down to praying that they're going to have a bad call at halftime. That's pretty much what it came down to. Is you look at everything that turned out, the Bills would have lost this game if they would have kicked a field goal in the first half.
Did we see why we were frustrated with Brian Dable as our OC today too? Like, not only are we obviously a little frustrated with Ken Dorsey, but remember when Brian Dable was here and people were calling for his head? Because at times you were just scratching your head like, how could this guy be so brilliant and bring out the best in 17, but also look so bad at the same time? I mean, there were some play calls today that were like, you're going to make that. I mean, even on 4th and long or 3rd and long, they end up trying to throw something, and then they go for it on 4th. And they take a deep shot on 3rd and long when they could have just picked up a few yards, made that 4th down a little bit more convertible. Then they go for it anyways on 4th, and they obviously don't get it. There were a lot of those moments tonight, I felt like, for the Giants. So it was like 1 step forward, 2 steps back for them too. So it was weird. And actually, my cousin tweeted this out. Shout out to Nate Geary Sports. Underrated talking point. Brian Dable knows exactly how Ken Dorsey is trying to beat him. I think it was vice versa as well.
Oh yeah. It was a great chess match for sure.
Yeah.
That's why I put those two on the thumb. I knew it would come down to them and their play calling. Big L, yeah. I mean, the
Look
more
at that.
you and I talk, when I met you out there in Buffalo, we have a lot of things in common going back to the days. Yeah, Babcock. I played baseball there. I mean, it was a great way for us kids to, stay out of trouble. We had to cross the bridge. I had to leave the valley to get to Babcock. But yeah, for many things, we'd go there to play football, baseball, and then they had a nice little community center that we can go in there and play a bunch of things as well. Keep the kids off the street, keep them busy, keep them out of trouble. But another good story, Big Al. I always love talking to you. So yeah, let's go through some numbers here, and I'd love the channel chime in. Obviously, you all have your opinions on what the Bills did wrong, who's to blame, what do they need to do to fix things quickly. They got to get this fixed quickly because we lose. I said last show, talk to me if we're not 7-3 after 10 games. Well, my God, I was thinking I'm going to take some heat tonight for a brief second. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be taking some heat the week after I said that. But we're 4-2. But let me just give you some numbers here. Josh Allen, 19 of 30, 169 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and he had an 86.7 rating. The Bills, I already said, kind of gave some numbers there. They rushed the ball 29 times for 128 yards for a 4.4 average. So right there, you got to be running the ball more, especially early on. Why wait to that third quarter to really introduce that, smash mouth football, under center football? Just go. I mean, let the big boys do the thing in the trenches. The receivers, 19 receptions for 169 yards, 2 touchdowns. And again, I already said Diggs was 10 for 100, Davis 3 for 21, Knox 3 for 17. But Diggs had, like I said, what's crazy, 16 targets. Distribute that ball more. I mean, Khalil, you threw it to him once, he makes a nice play. Throw it to that guy more. Why are you not throwing it to him? I love Khalil. I know some people are like, I think I heard Matt Chatter say last show, he's on the edge. I don't know what that meant. I mean, is he like they're going to cut him? But no, give him some opportunities. But dude, let's look at some defense and let's talk about that for a little bit. I mean, Taron Johnson, 15 tackles today, guys.
Yeah,
15 tackles. That's insane. He had that big pass deflection. Terrell Bernard had kind of a rougher game for him. Still had 12 tackles.
I still thought he did a lot of good things.
Oh, dude, 3 tackles for loss.
Yeah.
Huge.
More good than bad.
Yeah, of course. He had a couple plays called on him, but yeah, fantastic. Again, he's just a ball hawk. And you got Dorian Williams had 10. Let's talk about Dorian for a little bit because honestly, I didn't know who was going to be lining up next to Bernard. I mean, heck, I think they even activated Balin Spector. Wasn't he active for this game? You had Dodson that they could have put in. I mean, AJ Klein was active too, right?
He was so he was inactive.
Oh, yes. Okay. They did make him inactive.
Yep.
All right. Well, I thought I had seen that he was active, but man, we didn't know who was going to start. Jake, you were all along saying it's going to be Williams. And what'd you see from the young man in this game?
Yeah, definitely tasked with a tough one trying to defend Darren Waller at times. Really can't run with him. He's fast as hell, too. Dorian Williams is as fast as they come, runs 4.49, can run sideline to sideline. I thought he was very good on a lot of plays. He was meeting guys at the line of scrimmage today. I think he did some very good things. He did some not so good things. He looked like a rookie at times. But this is good. He's getting a taste of what it's like. He's playing in some meaningful games here now, and I think he's only going to get better. I'm still excited about him and the prospect that he is. I think he is still pretty raw, but he can play in this league. He could definitely play in this league.
I want to ask you guys about Epinesa because Timmy asked it in the Discord. By the way, if you haven't joined our Discord, join us because we talk about the game during the game and we talk about things all week long, and we got lots of threads in there, not just Buffalo Bills. But Epinesa had a sack. Floyd had a sack. And right now they're saying the team had a sack. Somebody else got the third sack. I'm sure they'll correct that in the morning. But Epinesa, did something happen to him? Because it didn't seem
I didn't see him.
He was on the field in the second half. Anything you saw, Brett? You're usually good at getting some information with your sources.
So I was trying to figure that out for you guys. I wasn't able to get anything. I don't know what happened. If maybe he got rolled on or something like that, but could have been related to the cramps that he was having last week, is all the oxygen issues. Maybe that's something that affected him again, but I couldn't figure out anything that was going on with him.
All right.
I'm looking to see if there's anything on Twitter. I don't see any of it. Nothing.
Yeah, because he's just been having such a stellar, year so far. And after he had that sack, you would think you would have seen him in there more. So
Yeah.
it's something's up. You got to keep an eye out for that. Question from Keith: do you guys think that Stefan's tirade and perceived beef with Allen last year at the beginning of the year was had subconsciously made Josh Allen give Diggs too many looks?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Got to keep him happy. And
Right.
hey, it's been working. It has been working. I mean, he's come up with some huge plays. He's been extremely clutch for us. Really the most consistent piece of our offense, to be honest.
Yeah, Jessica, Mike, the same rule applied as with Williams as it did with Bernard early in the year. If players are equal, take the young player with a possible higher ceiling.
Love that,
Yeah.
Jessica. Great
Yeah.
point.
Yep.
Jessica, I'm sure you thought Williams would start because you actually called Bernard starting because back in I think when it was week 1, I didn't know who was going to be starting at that linebacker spot, that middle linebacker, and she says it's going to be Bernard, even though he hasn't seen any action, and she was absolutely right.
The one thing I love about Dorian Williams, though, is his ability to tackle. That's one thing that I really look at for a linebacker is he'll go in there and, he has the right instincts. He might make mistakes every now and then, but he comes in, he tackles, he does his job, and he's really good with being able to use his IQ out there on the field.
Yeah, I want to say so. Williams again, he had 10 tackles, and he had 1 quarterback hit. And let's see who else. Russo. I thought Russo had a nice game. He had 2 tackles for losses and a QB hit. He made Tyrod have to throw a ball away on a big play late in the game there. And Leonard Floyd, man, continues to do it. Another sack. He's the sack leader on this team. I don't know what's that take him to. Anyone know what that total is right now?
Is it 6.5 now?
I thought it was 5.5.
5.5? Did he have 5.5 coming in? I think he had
see.
5.5 coming in, Brett. Now he's got 6.5. That's pretty damn good. Nonetheless, I mean, the numbers are there. He's on pace for a hell of a year.
You're right, Jake.
Yeah.
Love it. That's
Big L
great,
saying
man.
Jessica should be a regular. Absolutely. I know Jessica supports a lot of the channels out there that are Bill's channels. And, she's been asked multiple times. So she always has an open invitation anytime she wants. I think she's playing the hardball to get that big contract. I don't know.
That's what it is.
We did that with your brother Blake, Jake. I love how your family named you guys similar, so confusing as heck. But we signed a big deal with Blake, and we haven't been able to get him on the show one time since.
Yep, I know it. Hey, we're gonna make it happen one of these days. He's dealing with a toothache right now, so he's gonna show up to work tomorrow. I know that, but I don't know if he's gonna be on this channel anytime soon.
So let me ask you guys. First of all, Cam Lewis also went out with an injury. We'll have to wait and see how bad that is. But I want to ask you guys about the defensive line with no Daquan Jones. Tell me, did Poona Ford? What did you see the fill-ins do on the interior? I'll throw it to you first, Jake, on that.
They were eating up the whole first half. I mean, they looked really, really good. Then in the second half, the Giants made some adjustments. And they highlighted Mark Lewinsky. He played a really good second half for them. I think the guards and the tackles who were in, they did as good of a job as they could have against that D-line. But, obviously still made some plays in the second half. But that first half was as good as it gets. They slowed down a little bit in the second half there. But I also think they were trying to, play honest football too. Because Tyrod can move. And if he gets upfield, if he can make a couple guys miss, could really turn the game around. So I think they were trying to stay on their toes with that too, play a little contain.
Yeah, Tyrod was 24 of 36, no touchdowns, and 3 sacks for 15 yards. And let's talk about that. When's the last time the Giants have scored a touchdown? I thought we were going to be the first
how many
team
minutes?
to let them.
200 and something, 205 minutes now, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's insane. But
that's gameplay, by the way.
What's that?
That's 205 minutes of gameplay. So we're talking. Divide that by 15, and then you get that many quarters and however many games. It's wild. Goes back to last season.
Barkley had a pretty good running game. I mean, running game. Yeah, he did. Actually had 24 for 93, but 2 big plays on that one drive immediately after we scored. They handed the ball off to him twice, and he must have had like almost 50, 60 yards just in those 2 carries. But otherwise, we kept him in check pretty well. I know that was a big concern with him coming back for this game. Let's see what else we got there.
I thought Ed Oliver was brilliant at first, and then he had the one unnecessary roughness call.
Yeah.
Stupid penalty. He finds a way to do the last 2 games. He's had bad penalties. The illegal hands to the face, and then
that was uncalled for. I mean, he just literally hits the guy with helmet to helmet. I mean, come on,
can't
dude.
do that in front of the ref.
The play's over. But what about that brawl? What about that brawl that happened with they threw 5 flags and Spencer Brown? I'm concerned because Spencer Brown, I don't know did he come back in the game? Did you see him on the final? Yeah, okay, he did because he didn't come back immediately, and I'm like, oh man, did something get jacked up with his back? Because he had 2 players coming at him. I think it all started with Dawkins and Thibodeau. I think it was Dawkins and Thibodeau kind of getting into it, and then it was a little scrum from there. Yep. Oh my goodness! But Spencer Brown took the brunt of that, I think, and I was concerned because he didn't come back immediately. He was on the sideline being attended to, so that was definitely concerning. But that was interesting. And then you see, look, this is not what I want to see. I appreciate what he did, but Josh Allen coming in there,
I know,
dude. Do not mess with those big boys, please, because he had already been. I mean, they were thinking that he was a little dinged up, whether it was his shoulder or his head, because he had to go into the 10 at one point in the game. But I'm like, I love the scrum, but when I see Josh Allen getting in there, I'm like, Josh, don't do that, please. But my goodness, that was crazy.
Bomani Jones from ESPN tweeted out, he's like, why is Josh Allen never good to see a quarterback? Don't get involved with these bigger guys. It's like, Josh Allen, he's the same size as those linebackers and DNs. So I don't know what you're talking about. 6'5", 237. Are you kidding me? Come on now.
Well, I put it on my channel and I said, if anybody wants to fight Bomani Jones and Bills Mafia, I'll be the first one to go with you.
Yeah, there we go.
I said, you don't say that to Bills Mafia. You know damn well every single one of
he's going to attack.
They want to fight Leonard Williams right now. So
yeah,
it started with Leonard Williams, and I don't know if you saw what happened, but he was kind of trying to nut check.
I saw that.
That's where it started with, and it kind of reminded me of Christian Wilkins, and I don't blame them for trying to go after him. And listen, if somebody's trying to do that to me, even though you have cups on, and
I think was it Kayvon Thibodeau or Leonard Williams who was doing that?
Williams. It was 97 that started it.
Okay.
So, and then Thibodeau tried to get involved, and then
he was kicking. That's what. Yeah.
Kicking, yeah. So that's when it started, and then that's when Spencer Brown tried to go after him, and Spencer Brown ended up having a leg injury, not a back injury. Yeah. So, I mean, it's crazy that it happens. But listen, I said it in the Discord chat. I said, listen, you got to understand when you're playing in these games in Highmark Stadium for the next couple of years, understand that you're walking in the game through the same tunnel, and you're walking out through the same tunnel. So if anything you want to have happen, let it happen on the field, because you're going to be walking out the tunnel together, and it's going to happen over there too. We've seen it happen with guys like, Leonard Fournette and
Shaq Lawson.
Shaq Lawson, yeah. I was trying to remember that happening. I'm like, it will happen. If it's gonna happen in Buffalo, let it happen on the field, because you want 70,000 fans around you to see that happen. You don't want to have it happen, in the
behind
tunnel.
Closed doors. Yeah, exactly.
All right, boys, I want you to get real here before we close it out tonight. I mean, we're coming up on an hour. It is late on the East Coast. I feel sorry for you guys. I mean, shoot, it's 12:45 where you are, but I want to get real. The Bills are in trouble right now. They're hurting. This team, this will not sustain. If we continue to play this type of football, this season's going to be over before we know it. If we had lost this game, we'd have been in 3rd place in the AFC East.
Right.
This is a game that we as Bills fans, we as content creators, we're overlooking the Giants. We're like, this is an easy win. We should smash this team. And we had to hang on at the last play of the game at the goal line. And my God, if we had to come on this show and we had lost that game, I don't know. I don't know what I would have said. I would have been like,
I don't know
if
I could have done
I was wrong. All right. I would have said, Jake, you want to just cancel? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can face the music, but I always face the music. But dude, this team's in trouble, and we need to put it out there. Like, if they don't get crap changed, I mean, okay, let's just say this: defense aside, because I think the defense is doing okay. They're doing their job. I'm not going to complain, but that offense has been horrible the last 2 weeks. Slow starts. You get shut out 3 quarters in a football game. The Buffalo Bills shut out against this team.
Yeah,
it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And that team was beat up. That offensive line of theirs. I mean, they had way more injuries than we did. And we put that out on the field. So I'm going to throw it to you guys. Be real, man. Let's take off the sunglasses for just a few minutes, because people probably like are leaving our channel because we're not throwing out the shade, because we need to throw some shade out there. Jake, talk to me, man.
This is a team that was averaging the second most points in the NFL, and they put up 14 points tonight, and they put up 20 points, some of it in garbage time when it didn't even matter last week in London. And it's not the same football team that they were 2 weeks ago, and it's eerily similar to what it was last season when we were just getting complacent. A win's a win, but you still have to win with confidence. You still need to feel like you're getting better, and they've taken 10 steps back. Not 3 steps back, 10 steps back. It does not look good. It's not the way to win football games, and we better make a damn statement against New England, because I'm worried. I am actually a little worried, and we got to do a wellness check on our boy Sean Kula, because I know he was going through it tonight. So shout out to Sean. I think he was right about some of the stuff he was saying. Obviously, it is alarming with what you're seeing right now. This is not hunky dory. Like, hey, we got to win. We should be very happy with this. No, this was embarrassing. It was awful. We were 15-point favorites. We didn't even put 15 points on the board. Are you kidding me? That happened, a couple of years ago too against the Jags, where we lost. Thank God we won. But my gosh, take a look in the mirror. It's not pleasant right now.
And who are you calling out, Jake? Who needs to step up? I mean,
I think I'm calling out Sean McDermott a little bit. I think I'm calling out Ken Dorsey. Okay. I think we're playing like we're playing not to lose and not to win. Yeah. Like, what happened to the let's win and put 48 up every week? Because we could do that. I know this team can do it. They did it against some of the best. I mean, against the Dolphins, who are 5-1 right now. Like, what the hell? We played down to our competition, plain and simple. Keith said it. My dad said it.
Well,
that's what it is.
We're playing down to our competition. It's going to play us right out of the playoffs this year if we keep doing that. And so you're calling out McDermott. You're calling out Dorsey. And Jake, it feels like every drive is a struggle. It's a struggle. It's like
we should not be working that hard to get points.
We got to grind it out. That's the go-ahead touchdown was, great. Smash mouth football. But, dude, when you're going that many plays, it's good in the sense that you're wearing out the other team, but it's bad in a sense because the odds are you're going to make a mistake, and that's what the teams are hoping for. And it feels like every team plays us like that, and it works many times for them. And I'm seeing it now. It's just like we are struggling in those long, grinding drives. Something's got to give. Where is that excitement? Where are those big plays? We don't have anyone. What happened to Hardy? I'm going to tell you something. Look, Hardy made the touchdown play. Great. Love it. Love that we got him involved. He's supposed to have this lightning speed. I'm not seeing anything.
We would have been better off keeping Isaiah McKenzie.
I'm not seeing anything flashy from this guy. You give him the ball, I'm expecting him to make a move. Not Tyreek Hill, but give me some of Tyreek Hill. Give me 75%, 70% of Tyreek Hill. Make a play. I'm not seeing that. So there's no – and Big Gabe, Big Gabe had the 3 catches. He was targeted just 4 times. And they were going to him early. I wish they would have went to him more often later in the game. But it just feels like it's too much of a struggle, Brett. Man, what's got to give?
Well, you talked about calling people out. I'm going to call a couple people out right now. Number one, it starts with the captains on the team. And I'm going to call out Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, the captains of the team. It really comes down to them. And I mean, I don't think there's enough leadership on this team and holding people accountable. That's what it comes down to. One other thing is we've lost a lot of our identity for what we stand for as a team on the defensive side of the ball. And I don't know if it's just we lost the energy or what, but you got to wake up and you got to say, listen, it's my job now and I need to step up and lead my team. And when it comes down to the crucial moments, I'm going to call out Josh Allen and say this. it seems like there's always an issue when it comes down to the crucial moments. He's not rallying guys around him. He doesn't do a good job of that and saying, having the guys' backs and trying to pump them up. That's one thing that you have to do as a leader of this team. He has his head down in the playbook, and you need to pump up the crowd. You need to pump up everybody else. You see Jordan Phillips. You see other players do that. You see Stephon Diggs do it. But why is Josh Allen looking at the playbook so much? And this is not something that not only I say, but Sean Kula said it to me. We had talks about it. And he said that that's one thing that I'm looking at is why isn't Josh Allen as a leader calling out players and really being vocal with everything? He puts so much on himself, and the self-reflection of doing that for yourself, there comes a time where you just have to blow up at least once. And I'm going to say it, luckily being on the podcast with, Nickel City Mafia and Red, White, and Bills, we haven't had a blow up like that. But, if you guys were doing something and I said, listen, you guys, I don't agree with what you're saying, I might say it to you. I will say it to you right now. But why isn't Josh Allen saying, look, y'all need to step up. Let's go. Come on. We're going to do it. You have those qualities where
I feel like I've seen that in the past too. I feel like I've seen that in the past.
In the first year when he was playing against Minnesota, he was rallying everybody up. But I don't know if he just lost that or what it is. But I look at Joe Montana and look at the drive that he went through where he was calm in the pocket and everything. And they talk about it in The Blind Side where he points out John Candy in the stands. And that little scene there that he points out John Candy. Why is it that Josh Allen can't just, calm everybody down and just be like, yo, everybody chill the hell out. Let's go. We're going to do it. We're going to go down the field. We're going to score on this drive. We're going to put up points. Let's go. On 3, let's go. End of story.
Yeah. I love what Keith is. Yeah, I love what Keith is saying, and I agree. Why not reach out to the guy? But here's the problem I see. Look, if it's not in your character to be that person, and you're, how old's Josh now? 27. You're 27 years old, and that's not your character. It's hard to change that for anything you do, right? In life, it's like, I'm not really that guy. I mean, I manage a group of people, and I try to say, I do call them out sometimes if they're, I'll pull them aside and I'll call them out. But I'm afraid that if it's not in your character, because I see a lot of guys that go through this, that they struggle to do that. Like Diggs is that guy. I think Diggs would call it, but I don't even see Diggs in people's ears other than him just kind of looking mad. And maybe Josh Allen, he's like, when he's mad, he's pointing at Josh. But that's my worries, Brett. I don't know if he's that type of guy, unfortunately.
No, I don't think he's that type of guy. And I'll bring up a good point, Mike, okay? We don't talk about what goes on behind the scenes. And I want to talk about this because you were exactly right on this situation. You talked about it earlier in the show, how the virtual backdrop that I had behind me with the Highmark Stadium and everything, how it was affecting the camera that I had. You called me up, you talked to me, you said, hey, listen, I think it looks like crap. I'm like, okay, I think it looks okay. It doesn't look bad. You're right, man. I'll say it to you.
It looks a lot better. It does look a lot better.
Don't get me wrong. But hey, listen, you took accountability. You called me out. You said, hey, I think you should do this. I want to see how you do on that. And I said, you know what? I'm going to strap my big boy pants on. I'm going to do what Mike says. He's the person that's in charge of Nickel City Mafia. Love him to death. He has some good points that he has. And, I'm going to listen to him. I did it, and look at the background, how it looks. It looks so much better. And I'm not saying that for the praise of me whatsoever, but Mike, you do that. Jake does that as well. We have talks where we just talk to each other and say, hey, listen, this is what I think, and we might not disagree, or we might disagree with things, but that's just how we are. You have to be a leader and take accountability for things. And Jake, you do it. Mike, you do it. When we have the AFC East Summit shows, I take accountability for things that went wrong as well. But I also will call out people that don't step up as well. And that's something that as a leader, you can't just self-reflect. You have to be the guy that not only self-reflects, but also calls out the leaders, either not in the media, but behind the scenes. You got to call up those people or call out those people and say, look, you need to step up. You need to do this. You need to do that. And I think it's just a bunch of guys that are in the locker room that we're all buddies. And sometimes you can have that buddy mentality. That's great. But you also have to be a leader and say, look, you need to step that bleep up and you need to do your job or you're not going to be here next week.
So, Brett, you're bringing up a good point. I want to say this. First of all, we always want our channel to have top notch. We want the people to listen to stuff that doesn't hurt their ears, and we want them to see you're beautiful. We got some beautiful people on the show. Jake, Sean, you. I want you to look your best. But you said something very important. I did it behind the scenes, right? Yeah. And we don't know. Jake could be having these conversations. Like for me, a good leader, there's no one I despise more is a leader that just calls me out in front of the whole group of people. Pull me into a room. Talk to me there. And maybe that could be happening. We don't know. You know, there are some cases like we always seen that one with Peyton Manning where he's mic'd up and he was going at it with somebody. I forget.
Jeff Saturday.
Yeah. Oh boy, were they going at it? Legendary. And maybe there's a time and place for that, but most of the time, maybe he's doing it in the background so you might be right there. Maybe it is, but yeah, I don't know. We don't know.
He's a goofy guy, and he doesn't want to call anything out.
They do say he's funny. They do say he's a funny dude. So maybe we see like Jake. Like let's ask Jake because Jake is, you know, can you ever see Jake getting mad? Have you ever seen him really get mad? I don't know if he can get mad.
I did today. I did today. I got pissed, man.
Were you throwing things?
I didn't do it. I slammed the couch a few times though. I felt a little off my rocker at times.
So Jake, I mean, you work for a company. You have a someone you report to. What's your thought on the leadership quality that Josh has? Maybe he's not that guy on the field that's going to call you up, but maybe behind the scenes. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think he has to call anyone out. I think he needs to just pump the guys up a little bit, just generally on the sidelines. Just be show a little more emotion.
Like we got this. Come on, guys, we got this. Yeah. Let's go.
He's done that.
I want you guys
doing that last year, and I don't see any of that this year.
Give
and
me
maybe
your
it's just not because of cameras on it, or I don't know.
No,
that's all I want to see. I don't need him calling people out, but you know.
Having conversations at least. You should, but you're right. I think that's what you and Big are emphasizing is more of get up, talk to your guys, get them excited. Hey, give me your next 7 minutes on this drive. Give me your best 7 minutes. Trust me, I will take it down. We will put it in the end zone. Let's go. Let's get this win. So yeah, I can see that. And I don't think that's necessarily making anyone look bad. You're just trying to excite your team. Just snap the ball, Jeff. Yeah.
That was great, man.
That's amazing. Maybe one of these days I'll clip that and bring it on here. But yeah, it was incredible. So yeah, you guys you said Dorsey, you said McDermott needs to turn it up a notch. And, you know, again, if we don't get this right soon, you know, we play the Patriots, and then who's after the Patriots? Is that the Bucks? Did you say?
That's the Bucks.
Thursday night.
We'll be going to that one.
Jake and Sean will be there.
Yep.
Yeah, if we don't get things right, I mean that Buck team is no slouch, and of course, New England. You can never count them out. I mean, the interdivision game, we've had their number pretty much. But look, what was it? A couple seasons ago, they beat us in Buffalo in the hurricane. But you know, you never know. I mean, is that one in Buffalo and against the Patriots, or is it in
Gillette?
Okay, you never know. They have weather there as well.
3 games as quote unquote home games in a row. So
that's so stupid.
Yeah, you look at that. 3 home games in a row, going back to the Dolphins, the Jaguars, then the Giants. So we have to travel this week.
Yeah, so keeps emphasizing that whole fact that Diggs get in Josh's head and take the wind out of his sails. I mean, he wants to keep him happy, obviously, but and actually, people, I think it was after you joined, before you joined, Brett. People were saying, yeah, that might be the case. Maybe. He just doesn't wanna. He wants to keep him happy, and that's why he was the only guy in the first half, along with Gabe, who had a couple catches, but it was all Diggs for the most part.
Well, I'll bring up a good point that not a lot of people know about, and I've talked about it on some channels. But Josh Allen has Stephon Diggs on his fantasy team. That's true. So maybe he's trying to do. He's trying to win his fantasy league. I'm hoping that Josh Allen doesn't get in any trouble for illegal gambling whatsoever. Can you imagine that happening? Yeah. Imagine
That would
that
be nuts.
happening with their starting quarterback. I mean, there's been talks about the Bills are going to build a casino around the new Highmark Stadium that they're building. So you never know. I mean, I'm just going to throw it out there real quick and say that, there might be something that's going on where he just is trying to win his fantasy football team, and maybe he's down when he's on the field and realizes his team around him sucks. He might have like a Justin Jefferson or a Devon Chan out there and they're hurt. So he has to put so much pressure on Stephon Diggs. That very well could be it.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I mean, I know we're kind of joking at the end here, but joking aside, I'm concerned. I have a lot of concern. Yeah, win's a win, but what's been going on here in the first 6 weeks, I thought this was a better team. I think they were a better team. I mean, the injuries, is basically all been to the defense, and yet the defense has still showed up. So it's this offense, and I don't know. We've been saying it since the end of last year. We got to change something. I don't know what it is. I don't know what Dorsey needs to do. We've talked about run the ball more, get more people involved. It just doesn't seem to be happening. So I have a huge concern. I do think we should win the game. And like I said, I'm taking out the whole prediction segment. We're not going to ask for a prediction. We'll say who's going to win. I know people still put scores out there, but every week, I mean, we've seen it. We've seen the 2 undefeated teams get beat this week and games that folks didn't expect them to lose. So it happens. I'm glad we got this win. I said it was a season-saving play. I mean, if we're 3-3, falling to third place behind the Jets, it's a sad day. So, I don't know, guys. I mean, I want people to know we are taking this serious. I know we don't come out with the cussing. That's just not our style. I don't even know. I said, Jake, that we'd have a bring the rain and we tell people. But even if I came out with bring the rain, you would not hear me saying, I'd keep it PG-13, come up with alternate words. But I'm upset about this, man. We should not be losing to teams like this. And we better get it right in a hurry.
It's crazy. It feels like a loss. And it's a win.
It really does. And as somebody said earlier, I can argue, Giant fans are like, we got cheated. And I'll say this.
Yeah.
We got lucky. I mean, we made a play. Yeah. We made, you say luck, but we made 2 plays. But it probably should have been a third play. Should have been another play at that goal line if they make that call. And then they say third time's a charm. And who knows how that would have worked out. I just don't know. So we got a little lucky for sure. It does take luck in this league sometimes. But I don't know, guys. I am worried. The panic button, I'm going to put that on the soundboard here. I'm pressing the panic button right now. We are, what are we, 4-2? I said we'd be 7-3. I still think we can get there. But if they don't fix what I saw these last 2 weeks, I'm going to be taking some heat. So, Jake, closing thoughts for tonight. We've been keeping you guys and you got a trip tomorrow. It's 1:00 in the morning. I got to get you off the air. Closing thoughts for you, man. Closing thoughts.
Yeah, it's just the NFL season has a ton of ebbs and flows, and we need to start playing up to a higher standard against teams that we should beat and teams in general. We felt so good a few weeks ago. Felt like the Bills were the juggernaut of the AFC, and now the mood has totally changed. But also, I don't want people to give up on this team. There's still a lot of great things. This team has so much freaking talent, but they do need a little bit of a wake-up call. And I think it's time to start putting up some points too. No more of 20 points or 14. It's time to put up another 30 burger. So it starts this weekend.
Yeah. Brett, closing thoughts for you, man.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I'm going to echo what Jake's saying. I mean, let's not hit the panic button for the Buffalo Bills. This is a team that we want to see at their best in December and going into January, and playing their best in January and February. So I'm not freaking out right now. There's a panic button that we have, but that's because we're passionate Bills fans. We always want the Bills to win by a lot. Don't get me wrong. We don't want to have heart attacks out there like we had today. That's a game where I'm telling you, my stress level was at an all-time high, and I thought about taking some pills to just try to get my heart rate down because it was getting too high. It was crazy, but kidding aside, I mean, we're gonna have a Overreaction Monday show tomorrow at 8 p.m. on Go Bills podcast. So that's something that we take the 24-hour rule into effect, and you talk about what's going on, what you really feel like at that moment, let it all out. And, no cussing pretty much throughout the whole entire show, but we just go over what we think and say some difficult things that you have to say. And then you move on and you talk about the Patriots later on in the week. So that's something that I really thought of. And I think it's the best thing to do. So we're at the 24-hour mark. We'll talk about it and get through it, move past it, and get on to the Patriots.
Yeah, I think Jake said it best. I mean, we are a talented team. There is no doubt the Bills are a very talented team. And these type of games shouldn't happen, but they do every week. Again, look at what happened this weekend with the undefeated teams. I mean, for a minute there, I thought the Dolphins were in trouble. They're down 14-0. I'm like, oh, wow, Carolina going to help us out. But no, they came back and looked like the juggernauts they are on offense, and Tyreek Hill went crazy. So the Bills are definitely a very talented team. The concern is, can that coaching staff get them playing consistently on all levels? Obviously, I think McDermott's done a great job as far as the defensive side of the ball. I'm very happy with what he's done. Dorsey, maybe not so much. And I'm not sure how you fix that. I don't know if McDermott needs to get in his ear. I don't know. I mean, Jake, you called out McDermott a little bit. And remind me, what was your problem with McDermott? Because I feel like the defense, obviously he's the head coach, so he's got to take ownership for everything. But what do you think we need from him? You were calling him out a little bit earlier.
I think defense has been fantastic considering the injuries. I mean, it's been bend don't break football for our defense, and it's worked out for the most part. But I think from him, you just want to see the Bills taking those chances, and maybe he has to say something to Ken Dorsey. I never thought I'd say this, but I want to see Josh Allen run the football a little bit more, man. Like, I'm sick and tired of this. Oh, let's just drop back. We'll take what the defense gives you. No, I want to see some hero ball again. I'm getting sick and tired of the check down stuff. Take it. Take the checks downs. Do that. But also, don't forget who you are.
Yeah. Like, let me ask you guys this, because when we had the ball, after that stop, we stopped them on 4th down. We got the ball back. They had 3 timeouts. On one of those plays, did you not expect Josh Allen to just kind of do a fake handoff, roll out to the right, and scramble and run for the first down?
Yeah, I did.
I told Jonah, watch what Josh does here. He's going to roll to the, roll out. He's going to fake the handoff and then go run for the first down. Now he did roll, and he threw that pass and missed Knox, and Knox dropped it. Let's be real about it. But yeah, I hear what you're saying, Jake. I totally expected to see that play from him. Like, first of all, the throw is risky, right? He drops it, and they get to save a timeout.
Yeah.
Right. And versus, I love, let's Josh roll out, let him run. If he gets the first down, game over. And if he doesn't, at least they burn all 3 of their last timeout. So I agree with you. I mean, he's got to take the reins off just a little bit. We say that, but then an injury will happen and we'll be all pissed off, right? And we'll be all ticked off. But I hear you. It feels like, I don't know. We say we don't want him running. Now we say we want him running, but I mean, maybe he's kind of doing the Kyrie effect.
A little
where
bit
he's
more.
Like, man, I'm trying not to do all that. You guys want me to not to do all that, but now you're saying do that. But I hear you, Jake. I totally agree. We got to change things around a little bit. By the way, I never say it. I always forget because, we got right into the show tonight. If you're new to the channel, please like, comment, drop a nickel on that subscribe button. I'd love to hear. I mean, I've already heard from all the folks, and we really appreciate you, all of us, supporting the channel. Really do. And for those that watch us on the rewatch, put in the comments what you think has to change. Who's to blame? Well, how do we get right quickly? Got to get right. Win's a win, Jake. We said that last year. How many one-score games did we have last year when the Bills were said they can't win the close games? We won something crazy. 6 or 7, or maybe I'm even off on that, where we won that many close games. It's a week-to-week league. People, these are professionally paid players, and on any given Sunday they can just have the right scheme for you, and Dable had them fired up. But let me throw it to you, Brett. Closing thoughts. I got to get you guys to bed. Sorry, things just keep coming to my mind. I'm so disturbed. But let me throw it to you, Brett.
No, I'll go over closing thoughts, but real quick, I want to get into one last thing. I want to ask Jake in the panel, as well as everybody that's in the chat room. How much do you think the coaching staff of the Buffalo Bills is trying to have an impact on what Josh is doing? And do you think that they're kind of ruining the good things that players are doing, like Kyer Elam and Josh Allen? I feel like they're telling Kyer not to, try and have not to be handsy with himself and to play off and limit the strengths of what Kyer Elam does. And then with Josh Allen, they don't want him to run the ball. And that's the strength of Josh Allen, is he can run the ball. You use his legs, you use his arm, you use everything about him, because Josh is such a great player out there. And now you're taking away the good things that Josh can do. And I think it's limiting Josh, and it's in his head. Don't get me wrong. I think it's well in his head with the coaching staff of, hey, I can't run the ball here because they don't want me to. So for me, I wanted to ask you, do you think the coaching staff is overreacting based off of Josh Allen and Kyer Elam, or do you think it's in Josh Allen's head and it's Josh and Kyer that are overreacting?
I think mentally it starts there. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure the coaching staff has gotten into Josh's head and said, like, you cannot be doing what you're doing. Like, you can't be hurdling guys every single week. It's just not feasible for you or your contract. You're not going to survive. So I totally get that. But I think there are these circumstances where he needs to be that game changer, and he just needs to take the game over himself. And it shouldn't be a constant thing. It shouldn't be like it has been in the past, but it needs to be at certain times. So, yeah, he's got to figure it out. But I think, again, like I said, we don't win this game tonight without Josh Allen making that throw to Quentin Morris. No one else is doing that. Sorry, just not happening. And Kyer Elam, he's not looked good at all. I don't know what's going on there, but I will say, out of all the position groups right now, corner is probably the most concerned I am about, because they're struggling.
Yeah,
minus Taron Johnson.
We didn't touch on that. Look, they've been hard on him being handsy, and we're like, hey, we'll take him being handsy. But let me tell you, that penalty that was called on him, I mean, that he should have been arrested for mugging that player. I mean, he was so handsy, Jake and Brett. It was like, oh my God, now I see what you're saying. It's okay to be a little handsy, but that was so over the top. I know we said we're closing out the show, but look at us. We just get right back into it, because Radio Man throws out this comment, and I'm worried. Is he out here in California where I am, and is he talking to somebody? Because Josh is from California. What's going on, Radio Man? Where are you hearing this from?
He's from California.
Yeah, he's you're right. Of course he would buy a house out there. $7 million in California.
He also built an insane par 3 golf course house in Buffalo, and it's brand spanking new, and it's immaculate. So he's here for the long run. I don't see him going out to California.
Yeah, I was thinking Radio Man was going to tell me he's friends with somebody, part of the family, and he overheard something, giving us some inside information. No. But you're right. I mean, you're right, Jake. He grew up in California, and his family's in California.
He goes there in the off season.
Yeah, he goes there quite often. I mean, I see him on social media popping up at Disneyland. I'm like, damn, should I jump in the car and get down there, because maybe I can meet him? But no, it's way too. You got to pay $150 a ticket to get into Disneyland. Are you kidding me? Take a family of 4, and you're paying $600. So, Radio Man, good to see you, man. I don't know if I've seen you before on the channel, but if you're new, hopefully you like what you listen to, or what you're hearing, and you'll drop a nickel on that subscribe button.
What California team is he going to play for? If you think so, you have a prediction on that?
Yeah. So the contract is up in what year is the contract up?
27, is it?
I think it's after the 2026 season, I want to say. Let me just double check.
Yeah, you guys go ahead and check that. So again, on the Kyer Elam thing, which we didn't talk about, there was 2 plays, the penalty, and I think there was another one where he got beat. But other than that, I mean, I can't complain too much. But the penalty, the hands, way over the top, and that's going to be it's going to come into a lot of plays later on down the season. So I can see. So Brett, to answer your question, I think they are being appropriate with him. I mean, he's got to clean that up somewhat. I'm okay with hands, but dude, don't mug the dude. Don't mug him.
Yeah.
No potential out in 2026, and his contract does technically go through 2028.
Okay. So they could get out in 2026, and Josh, as you said, he's 27 right now. He'd be what, 30?
2 years. Yeah,
31.
30 at that point.
Yeah.
So LA Rams, huh?
Ugh,
Okay.
gross. Most fair weather fan base I've ever seen in my entire life.
Oh,
That would
man.
be terrible.
Well,
Going from the best fan base to that's just
the worst is the Chargers. Come on, give the Rams a little bit of credit
all
over
right.
the Chargers.
Not the San Diego Chargers though. They were
No.
passionate. They got robbed of
No.
a team.
I agree. Yeah. The only good thing about that radio, man, if it happens, I'm out here. I'm about a 2-hour drive to SoFi, so I could see Josh. But if that happened, I don't know. I don't think Josh is going anywhere for a while.
No offense to you, Mike, but Josh is the least Californian guy I think I've ever known of. I mean, he is totally Buffalo. Like, that's him, you know? Maybe it started at Wyoming and that, like, cold weather feel, small town feel. He's from a small town in California, so that probably goes with it. He's a farmer, too. Humble beginnings, you know? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll
see.
Can
you imagine Josh Allen going to, like, Seattle or even like San Fran? Imagine San Fran. You know, that would suck.
That would be awful.
It would. And 30, 32, he'd still be playing at an elite level, I think.
You never know, though. Russell Wilson didn't play at an elite level anymore.
Yeah, but Josh Allen is not Russell. This arm talent is different, man.
Yeah, it sure is.
Different.
I mean, he is dating Haley Steinfeld, so I don't know. Haley makes her home out here in California, I'm sure. She's a star. I don't know where she lives, but
I'm a big fan of Haley Steinfeld, I gotta say. And you know what I love about her? She seems very humble. She's not like your typical superstar, you know? Very, like, nonchalant, like, yeah.
One donkey needed that laugh. He said, you don't put your heart and soul into a team the way Josh has and leaves to go to the Rams. I need that after today.
Yeah.
The only way Josh leaves if the Bills don't want him, and that's not going to happen, honestly. That is not going to happen. And for Josh to say, you know what? I didn't get a Super Bowl here in Buffalo. Yeah, let me go get one. And maybe LA's playing at an elite level.
It'd be soul-crushing for sure.
Yeah. So I don't know. Appreciate you.
We'll make a bet. Let's make a bet on that radio, man. Yeah, let's make a bet.
We're going to have to wait a few years. So we'll look back on this video in 2026, 2027, and we'll be like, either Radio Man, I don't know what you're thinking, man, or damn, he was right.
Yeah, shoot.
Imagine if we come up with a video in 2026, like the off season, and it's like breaking news: Josh Allen traded to the Rams. I'd be like, Radio Man, really?
He put it out in the air. Don't do that. Don't put it out there.
We got to put it on the radio. We can't put it on any other source. We can put it on the radio.
All right, guys. I said I'd get you out of here to bed. I'm going to do it now. I'm sorry. Everyone in the channel, appreciate you as always. For those rewatching, tell us how we got to get this right, man. Who you putting the blame on? Who's got to fix things? Obviously, it's, you can't be firing anyone right now. I know people are like, fire Dorsey. I don't know who you're going to bring in, but if you know somebody, let us know. Maybe make a trip over, call somebody over at One Bills Drive and talk to someone. But I don't know who's out there. If you are watching this afterwards, let us know what has to get fixed and who's out there.
Peyton Manning's a good play caller.
There you go.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Has Peyton ever said that he would love to get into coaching? Have you guys ever heard that?
He coaches.
I mean, they do the Manning camp, the passing academy, but I mean, he'd probably be great at it. He probably would be great at it, but yeah, I don't know.
Who's calling the plays for Deion Sanders' offense over there at Colorado?
That's a good question.
I mean, maybe if it's Deion, let's get him, because that team's. Although didn't they lose to Stanford?
They lost to Stanford.
That was a big loss. Big loss.
Sean Lewis is their OC. He came from Kent State. Actually, he was there as their head coach for the past 2018 to 2022. Did take them to the bowl game. They lost the famous Idaho Potato Bowl in 2021. But that's their guy. Radio Man saying you'll see. Yeah, we'll mark it on the calendars. I'm going to make a calendar event with Google after the show. We'll check it out in 3 years. But things have to get right. Again, if you're saying fire this person, fire that person, you're 6 weeks in. You're at 4-2 right now. Who's going to come in and
if you try to change this offense now, I mean, you could argue, well, they're not doing that great right now, so maybe a change is good. But I just don't know who's out there. So I'd love to hear from the channel. Let us know how we get this right. We're not happy. I'm panicking a little bit. I do think, I predicted 7-3 after 10. We could be 8-2. Who knows? But 7-3 at the very least, we have to get there. Keep playing like this. We're not going to get there. So not happy. And again,
I'll say this. The Chiefs have won some games this year that haven't been the prettiest either. They just won a game Thursday night against the horrible Denver Broncos, right? And it didn't look pretty.
That's a great point. It's a great point. This is a week-to-week league, and on any given Sunday, any team can show up. But I don't know. Yeah. When you play a team that's so beat up, and maybe they were just playing their hearts out for Dable. Maybe Dable just gave this amazing speech and said, hey, man, show up for me. Show up for me. And they gave it all that they could. They kept them in that game. So hats off to them. Anyhow, let's go. Let's get to bed. Again, appreciate you, Jake. Appreciate you, Brett, crashing the party. Podcast crasher. I mean, there's wedding crashers and there's podcast crashers. And, Brett taking the honors of that.
I'm a podcast.
Yeah, you're the podcast crasher.
Love it.
All right, everybody. Have a good one. We'll see you soon. Jake and I will be back Wednesday night. Got some great shows. Let's see. Today's Sunday. Getting a little mixed up. Tuesday night. Check out the AFC East Summit at 8:30. There's going to be a lot of follow-up on this game, as well as the Dolphins, who got off to a slow start, and as well as the Patriots as well. If you're followers of any of the AFC East teams, check out the AFC East Summit. Also, we have, what's the other show we got going? There's so many shows, I'm losing track of them. What other show that we got going off on Tuesday usually? Usually it's the fantasy football show. They've been off the past couple of weeks. Oh, yes. How can I forget? Thank you, Jake. Our new Sabres Edge show, which is going to be third episode Tuesday night. And look, Sabres 0-2 to start the season, already starting to put fear in people's hearts. I can't wait for that show to see what the heck the guys are thinking is going on. So Sabres show goes off at 8:30. I'm sorry, the AFC East Summit goes off at 8 p.m. Eastern. The Summit goes off at 8:30 Eastern. Ben Beal, you got
Ben, you know me. I don't sleep, brother. I'm getting on a flight in 3.5 hours here. It's all good, man. We'll figure it out. Listen, I got endless energy. I could stay up all night.
Yeah, Jake is he's going to be thinking about this game all night and running through it in his head.
Way too much adrenaline right now.
What the heck's going on? So that's it. And then what do we got? We do our shows Wednesday and Sunday. So Jake and I again on Wednesday night at 9 and Sunday night, obviously, like tonight.
Got to talk to you about Wednesday night.
I was just going to say, because you're traveling.
I'm getting in late on Wednesday night.
All
so
right,
we may have to pull in Chris or something like that. I don't know, because it is Pats week after all.
Oh, yeah. Good stuff. All right, buddy. Hey, take care. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Ben saying hoot with the Owls.
Great quote. Owls. I'm going to end it with this quote. If you want to hoot with the Owls, you better soar like an eagle.
Oh, I love it.
How about
Night,
that?
everyone. Take care. Stay safe.
Go Bills.